Hey guys, it's Emma, and I'm back today for you with another video. And today we're doing my October wrap-up, okay? October went by, she was a fast bitch. I turned 22 in October. I also read 14 books in October, okay? I'm very proud of myself for that, okay? Not only did my birthday come this year, but also my productivity came as well. We welcome her, all right? It's a very, 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 very long-awaited welcome. But anyway, she's back and she's ready to go. I read 6 5-star books this month, all right? And I cannot be happier about that. I also DNF'd 4 books, all right, because DNFing is self-care. Okay, so with that being said, let's just jump right into it. The first book that I read for the month of October was Volume 1 of FANGS. This is a new vampire manga about this young man named N who becomes a vampire very gruesomely, and he's taken under the wing of this other vampire named Ichi, who is a part of this vampiric police task force that basically keeps an eye on all of the vampires in their world so that they don't attack humans. And Ichi and N become a blood pair, which is essentially this agreement between two vampires that, you know, they can like drink from each other, they can have sex with each other, they can basically let out all of their animalistic urges onto each other so that they don't let them out onto the human population. I loved this. I gave this 4 stars. It was just so reminiscent to me of Interview with a Vampire, just less gothic and more modern. It's graphic in more ways than one. So if I would say if you're a younger viewer, maybe check the content warnings for this, but oh my goodness, this was so much fun. It was so funny, and I cannot wait to see more of En and Ichi, all right? I love them so much. A less toxic Lestat and Louis. The next book that I read for the month of October was The Death of Vivek OG. This is about a kid in Nigeria named Vivek OG who is suffering from very disorientating blackouts, and they are going through a very, very, very tumultuous transformation in their community's eyes, and one day their mother finds them dead on her doorstep and wrapped in a shawl, and it's all about her trying to figure out how her child died and her discovering that she barely knew her child at all. And oh my goodness, I gave this 3 stars. It was so beautifully written. I do wish we got more of Vivek's I guess point of view, just plainly because I feel like it was a little dull hearing about Vivek from everybody else. And I don't know, the incest in this book, while I know that different cultures view incest very differently, the incest in here was a tiny bit jarring, but I think that it was supposed to be jarring. I don't think that Akwaeke Emezi is sitting here going, oh yeah, incest, it's cool, it's amazing. No, I think that, you know, they used it as a tool in order to show people, oh yeah, things happen when people's identities are repressed. Okay, so just wow, this book was so beautifully written. Like, the writing style was absolutely delicious. I devoured this book. It was so beautiful. Okay, I just wow, I want to read more of Akwaeke Emezi's books, because if their writing is anything like The Death of Vivek OG, sign me up. The next book that I read, which is the first 5-star book for this month, is Inuyasha Volume 2 of the Omnibus editions by Rumiko Takahashi. This series is about a girl named Kagome who falls through an ancient well into the feudal era, and she has to basically team up with this half-demon called Inuyasha, and they have to find the shards of this jewel in order to make it whole again so they can fully destroy it. And oh my goodness. If you know me, you know that I love Inuyasha. The anime is literally my favorite of all time. It's a comfort show. I have a shirt, and now I have the manga. A lot of darker stuff happens in this edition. Nothing can make me laugh the way the Inuyasha series makes me laugh, all right? It is just so much fun. It is, I would say that this is one of the main reasons why I love Friends to Lovers so much, okay? Just the banter that Inuyasha and Kagome have kills me. And also, they're big ass books, but it's manga, so I can fly through it and it makes me feel productive, okay? The next book that I read, which is also a 5-star book, is Near the Bone by Christina Henry. This is about a husband and wife, William and Maddie, respectively, and they live this very isolated life on a mountaintop, and they're basically cut off from society, and they are basically out one day, and Maddie finds a mauled body of a fox, and she realizes there's something else on this mountaintop that's very, very sinister and monstrous. And then 3 strangers come up from the base of the mountain in order to basically research this creature that they think is an actuality. And Maddie knows that these 3 strangers will anger William because William doesn't want anybody on the on his mountaintop, and there's a reason why. So it's all about all of these people on this mountain trying to survive this monster, and the monster may not be what it seems. This is a new favorite creature feature of mine. This was so quick to get through. It was downright insidious. All right, it reminded me so much of Law and Order SVU, the kidnapping of Elizabeth Smart. If you guys are interested in those 2 things, then I think you'll really like this. It was just so well layered and structured, the story and all the different things that we find out. Oh, it was just so good. I cannot recommend this enough. Oh goodness. Okay, this next book that I read is also another 5-star book, and that is 10 Minutes and 38 Seconds in This Strange World by Elif Shafak. This is about a prostitute named Tequila Layla who is murdered and just dumped in a dumpster, and her brain is still active for 10 minutes and 38 seconds. So basically, most of this book is about her just remembering certain parts of her life and how she met her friends, and then the rest of this book is about her friends giving her the burial that she deserves. This book was tough to read at some points, I'm not gonna lie. If you are incredibly sensitive towards the topic of child molestation, then I don't know if you would enjoy this book as much as I did. Honestly, I just skipped over those parts. It's not a lot. It's really only maybe like 2 very short parts. But nonetheless, it was very tough to read, but I loved the history of Turkey, kind of ingratiated into the story along with Layla's. And I loved how we got to see just all the trials and the tribulations that Layla went through and how she overcame every single one of them. It was very tough to read, but damn was it satisfying and gratifying to read at the same time. Just wow, the resilience in this book was something that I will never forget. Okay, The Witch and the Tsar by Olesya Salnikova Gilmore. This is about Baba Yaga in the time of Ivan the Terrible, and she basically has to stop him from destroying Russia. Long story short, I gave this 2 stars. This is a very big disappointment for me, just mainly because I was so excited to get this. I got it, I think, either the day or the day after it came out. I didn't know anything about Baba Yaga before I read this. The only thing I knew about her was that she is Russia's boogeyman. The character of Baba Yaga in here was so damn naive, it was ridiculous. It's like, honeycomb, you've lived for how many centuries and you still don't know that riding a direwolf in public is gonna make people stare at you? The word that I would use to describe this book for me personally is just tame. I think the author could have done so much more with the story than what they did, but also could have done so much less than what they did. I understand needing time jumps in order to make this story fit the timeline of Ivan the Terrible in real life, but the time jumps just made it very, very choppy in terms of pacing, and there's action points that don't happen on page where I think it would have served the reader better to just read from a different point of view other than Yaga for at least, like, you know, just time to time. So definitely not the worst book that I've ever read, I want to make that known, but oh my goodness, this was such a disappointment because, I don't know, I was just expecting so much more, and what I got was either too drawn out or not wild enough. Oh my goodness. Time for a pick-me-up, okay, because next we have 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. 1,000 Splendid Suns is basically about, I would say, fictional characters during the history of Afghanistan, from the Soviet invasion all the way up to the Taliban holding power, and we follow 2 characters specifically, 2 women, Layla and Maryam, and how they basically have to do whatever they can to survive in this very, very, very torrential plane of existence. Just wow, this book, I flew through this. All right, this book was very hard to read at some points. I wept. I'm pretty sure there is, yeah, do you see how that page is kind of crinkled a little bit? That's from me crying onto it, okay? This book was just absolutely spectacular. The resilience that I was praising 10 minutes and 38 seconds in the Strange World so much for, pretty much the exact same thing in A Thousand Splendid Suns. The author is able to make every single character so flawed, but at the same time make you love them. I remember with one character in here, I was like, oh my gosh, this bitch, I just wish I could deck her. But then it's like, no, you can't, because at the same time she's a victim. And so at one point I was absolutely irritated with her, and then at another I was crying for her. It was so jarring. This book is emotionally jarring in the best way possible. So I would say that if you're looking for another book like 10 minutes and 38 seconds in the Strange World, definitely go for A Thousand Splendid Suns. Okay, not only is it amazingly written, but it's also got beautiful pictures that are just so immersive. I just loved this book so much. I cannot gush about it enough. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to read more by Khaled Hosseini, because this was just magnificent. The next 3 books I all DNF'd, all right? And they were pretty much all for the same reason. They were all either audiobooks or ebooks. Okay, so the very first one is Sunshine by Robert McKinley. I DNF'd this book at 34% on page 139. I got bored. The next one we have is The Never King by Nikki St. Croix. I DNF'd this one at 39%. It was an audiobook, so I don't know the exact page number. I DNF'd her because I was also bored, and also there was something in here that was kind of abusey here, which I'm not really a fan of. And then the third one that I DNF'd in a row was They Never Learn by Layne Fargo. I DNF'd her at 9%, also an audiobook, so I don't know the exact page number. Also bored. Now that we have those 3 out of the way, the next book that I read was The Ivies by Olesya Donne. This is basically a YA thriller, I think, about a clique of girls who are obsessed with getting into college, Ivy League colleges specifically. Each one is assigned a college that they will go for, and they have to basically sabotage their fellow classmates in order to secure themselves a spot at the Ivy League college that they are assigned. And one, basically the day of or the day after that they are given their acceptances or rejections, one of them is killed. And so our main character, Olivia, has to figure out who killed her and if she's gonna be next. I gave this book 2 stars. This was kind of a disappointment too, just mainly because I've had this one on my shelf for so long. But oh my goodness, this main character was I don't want to call her dumb. I don't want to call her dumb. However, the naivete was ripe. All right, it was rank. I remember getting so angry about her basically finding out that her friend that's murdered was running an SAT scam. And she was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea my friends could sing so low. Honeycomb, your friends are sabotaging your classmates. They literally broke up relationships so that the people in said relationships would basically tank their grades due to the stress of it all. Your friends poisoned people's drinks with laxatives so that they wouldn't be able to take the SAT. Your friends poisoned people's drinks in order to make them gain weight so that they wouldn't be able to get spots on the rowing team. And then to top it all off, you were under the speculation that one of your friends slept with a gay girl and then blackmailed her for it in order to get her to give you a position. You're gonna look me in my eyes, in my orbs, and tell me that your friend having an SAT scam was what made you lose respect for your friends? You're an idiot. The only reason why I didn't give this 1 star was because it was a clique. And that's about it. The next 5-star book that I read was You've Lost a Lot of Blood by LaRocca. This is this one's kind of hard to describe. It's about two men who are in a relationship and they've gone missing, and the cops are trying to find out where they are, and in doing so they unearth a bunch of poems and a short story by one of them who was murdering a bunch of other men. I read Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke during my Halloween readathon vlog, I think last year. I wasn't as big a fan of that one, but this one, I took a chance on it, and I'm damn glad I did, okay, because wow, this was so good. It reminded me so much of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream by Harlan Ellison. If you've read that, I think you'll really like this. Okay, this was more sci-fi, this was just creepier, all right, and it had a time loop. It was so good, and it was really short too. If you are a fan of more sci-fi horror, this will be up your alley. The last 5-star book that I read this month was Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison. This is about a girl named Rory who is back in her small town because her sister is very heavily pregnant, so she wants to be with her. And one night she is attacked by an animal, and the ensuing experiences throw Rory into a cesspool of anger and just confusion. And it's basically all about Rory trying to come to terms with this transformation that's going on with her and how she handles all these different relationships in light of this experience. This is a new favorite werewolf book for me. This was freaking amazing. The werewolf design in here was damn terrifying. The fact that this book really deals with more so just feminine rage was so refreshing for me. I would say that if you're a fan of Foul is Fair by Hannah Kaplan, you'll really enjoy this. Honestly, Decode by Paramore, I would say, is a viable soundtrack for this book. The last book that I read for the month of October was another DNF. And that was For a Far Wilder Magic by Allison Saft. This is about two people, Margaret and Wes. Margaret is the daughter of an alchemist who is basically trying to find and hunt down this mythical creature called the Hala in order to basically bring her mother back from this journey that her mother is on, because this creature has alchemical properties that her mother would really like. And then Wes is a training alchemist who teams up with Margaret in order to be the alchemist to her hunter for this annual hunt in order to hunt the mythical creature that Margaret is after. And Wes wants to be Margaret's mother's apprentice. So it's kind of a I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine type of thing. I DNF'd this at 65% on page 250, so I rated it, I gave it 2 stars. The characters outside of the romance were incredibly bland. I don't know why I decided to read a book about alchemy when I neither am a fan of alchemy nor really understand it. So that was my fault. The stuff in here was a little bit too far-fetched for me personally, so that made the magic system very strange. The metaphors were really the only thing that I genuinely liked here. There were big metaphors for how the Irish were treated at the hands of the British, how the Jewish were treated at the hands of Christians, and I really liked those metaphors. It's just they were incredibly on the nose. So yeah, while I think this isn't a horrible book, it was just not my cup of tea, I'll say that. So you guys, those were all of the books that I read during October. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that, you will pick the ones that I praise up. I hope that you will like them. And honestly, if you liked some of the books that I didn't like in this video, props to you, okay? Because like I say, always, you guys obviously found something that I did not enjoy, which I applaud you guys for. So you guys, I hope that you had a great reading month in October like me, that you'll have hopefully an even better one in November, that you guys are staying safe, and that you guys have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.